Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. Before we jump in, you're probably going to notice some things are a little different today. We're trying out a new voice, new background video, kind of a new format overall. We're always looking to make the content better for you guys, so I'd really appreciate it if you let me know what you think. Drop a comment, tell me if you like it, tell me if you hate it, whatever, just be honest. Your feedback genuinely helps us figure out what works. Okay, with that out of the way, this video is a one-story video where we've got an absolute banger from the subreddit Pro Revenge with 3 full updates. We get the whole story, start to finish, complete with closure, and trust me, the ending on this one is something else. If you want to skip between the different parts of the video, just use the timestamps down below. Now let's get started with this awesome story. This post is from the subreddit Pro Revenge, and it's by a user we'll call Luke. Initial post. Posted to r/pro revenge. I'll forget you in a week. Already found someone better, my fiance sneered, humiliating me in front of her family. I just took the ring back and left. Throwaway for obvious reasons. People in this story would recognize my main. Also, heads up, this is stupid long. So yeah, my fiance cheated on me, humiliated me in front of her entire family at a Sunday dinner, threw the engagement ring at my chest, and told me she'd forget about me in a week. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing because, honestly, I still can't believe it happened the way it did. I'm Luke, 32, Pittsburgh. 3 years of my life just got torched over dinner rolls and passive aggression, but I swear it's the best thing that could have happened to me. Stay with me here. Background stuff. I rebuild heavy equipment. Caterpillar excavators, John Deere machines, basically anything with hydraulics that weighs more than a house. I like it. There's something about taking a completely dead machine and getting it to run again that just, I don't know, it never gets old. The shop's between 2 bridges on the Mon River, and during lunch, I sit outside and watch coal barges go downriver while I eat the same exact sandwich I've been making for like 2 years. Turkey, Swiss, apple slices, black coffee out of a thermos. My boss Jake keeps telling me I'm the only guy under 40 who brings a thermos to work. Yeah, probably. I box twice a week at this gym on the south side. Old school place. Smells like leather and decades of sweat that soaked into the walls. Coach barely talks. He just taps you with his walking stick when your form's off or grunts in Russian. That's the whole coaching style. But the thing that really matters here is my project car. 73 Dodge Challenger. Pulled it out of a field in Washington County. Absolute rust bucket when I bought it, but the numbers matching 340 small block was still under there. Frame was solid. I'd been working on bringing this thing back for about 2.5 years, doing it right, taking my time with it. I was going back and forth on whether to keep the original Torque Flight Auto or swap in a Tremec 5-speed. The purist guys online would lose their minds, but whatever, it's my car. My buddy Ray thought I was nuts doing a full frame-off restoration while also trying to plan a wedding. Ray and I go way back, served together in the Guard. Now he does security systems for a living, and he thinks literally everything needs cameras and access controls. Your front door, your garage, your mailbox, probably your fridge if you'd let him. He's also the guy who basically saved me in this whole situation, so remember his name. He's the MVP, and it ain't close. After Ray went through his own nasty divorce a couple years ago, he got me in the habit of keeping records of everything. Memories fade, but receipts don't lie. That's his line. He says it all the time. Turns out it's really good advice when your life blows up. Fiona and I agreed back in February to split all wedding expenses 50-50. I've got the text thread saved. February 12th, her words. Makes sense, we're both adults with jobs. I tracked every penny because that's just how I am. The venue deposit was $2,800. I paid it, sent her the receipt, asked for her half. She sent $1,400 about 3 weeks later, said something about a commission check being delayed. She was in real estate, so okay, yeah, income's unpredictable. Fine. Caterer wanted $2,200 up front. Same thing. I covered it. She sent $800 and said she'd get me the rest next week. Next week came and went. I didn't see that money. Here's the part that should have been a 5-alarm red flag. While she's telling me she can't cover her half, she's posting Instagram stories from fancy restaurants, spa days, concert tickets, designer bag hauls, girls' trip weekends. Spending was clearly not the issue. Spending on us was the issue. I didn't start fights about it, though. That's not me. I wasn't going to get into money arguments with someone I was about to marry, but I kept everything. Receipts, texts, bank screenshots, all of it. Diesel engines don't lie to you. Something's wrong, you find the problem, you fix it, you move on. People are a whole different thing. Fiona had turned the wedding planning into her own personal production. 3 Pinterest boards, a vendor spreadsheet, a binder that weighed about 4 pounds. She kept pushing to upgrade the venue to somewhere more impressive and add more guests because people will judge us if it looks cheap. When I told her we were already at the limit, she suggested I pick up overtime shifts or sell the Challenger for what actually matters. Sell the Challenger. Right. Remember that part. One Tuesday, she tells me, doesn't ask, tells me that her family wants us over for Sunday dinner. Her mom needed to sort out final details. I said, cool, I'll be there at 3, right after I finish pressing new bushings into the Challenger's front suspension. Eye roll. You always pick your little hobby over family. I said, you can't rush precision suspension work or you'll mess something up, and she goes, maybe you should have thought about that before wasting money on a rust bucket. All the warning signs were right there. I read them perfectly at work every single day on million-dollar machines. Couldn't read them on my own girlfriend to save my life. Got there right on time, spent the morning elbows deep in suspension work, so I scrubbed my hands down with pumice and cleaned my nails with a wire brush. Janet, Fiona's sister, was there with her husband. Dad was out grilling, Mom in the kitchen. First hour was nothing. Weather, work stuff, something about somebody's neighbor getting a pool. Fiona kept checking her phone and smiling at whatever she was reading. I noticed, but I didn't say anything. You know how it is. You see the red flag and you just tell yourself it's probably nothing. It's always nothing, until it's everything. Things changed when Janet brought up honeymoon plans. Fiona went off about upgraded resort packages and first-class flights that we'd never talked about. Then she shifted into how some people weren't stepping up financially to make their shared dreams come true, looking right at me the whole time. Then she just kept going. The Challenger was a waste of money that could have gone to our future. My ambition was basically non-existent. Janet did a weird, uncomfortable laugh, and I caught this look between her and Fiona's mom. A nod, like they'd talked about this already. They'd rehearsed this. I was sitting in the middle of an ambush, and I was the only one who didn't know about it. My job was fine for someone without goals. My house was embarrassing. My friends were guys going nowhere. She'd been settling the whole time, she said, just hoping I'd grow up. Not just some friend. She described this dude as someone who actually knows what he wants and has a real career, and took her to places that matter. They'd been connecting for months. He showed her what real chemistry felt like. Her family was nodding the whole time, like this was a presentation they'd already seen, probably sat through a practice run over coffee that morning. She looked at me, twisted the ring off, and said, you know what? I'm done with this charade. And she threw it at me. Not handed it over, threw it, hard. It bounced off my chest and hit the hardwood floor with this sharp little clink that I can still hear if I close my eyes, rolled under the edge of the dining table. It's cheap anyway, just like everything else about this relationship. She looked at her family. Did you guys know he got this at some discount store? Kevin would never. 3 years, wasted, on a guy who thinks fixing trucks is a career. Then the line, I'll forget you in a week. Honestly, I'm already halfway there. I'm going to be honest with you, Reddit. Right at that second, something weird happened. I didn't get angry. I didn't get sad. It was more like this. Oh, okay, so this is who you actually are. Cool. Good to know. Just total clarity. I got up, walked over to where the ring ended up under the table, picked it up. White gold, quarter-carat diamond, 4 months of saving and overtime to pay for. Not some discount store ring. A real jeweler in Shadyside. Pocketed it. Walked to the sliding door where Fiona's dad was standing, pulled her spare key off my keychain, and put it on the counter. Thanks for dinner, Mr. Parker. That's all I said. I didn't correct her about the ring, didn't bring up the money she owed me, didn't mention that she'd been funding her affair partly with my bank account. Why? What's the point? She'd been planning this with her family for who knows how long. You don't win an argument against a jury that already decided the verdict. Walk through the dining room. Everyone's suddenly very interested in their food. Got to the front door, pulled out my phone, one text to Ray. Implemented. I hit the end of the driveway, and there was Ray's Silverado pulling up to the curb. We'd set this up. After seeing his divorce blow up, him and me came up with a system. If things went bad at the dinner, I text that word, and he shows up. No scene, no yelling, just an exit.
He didn't ask what happened, just nodded at the passenger seat. Once we got going, he goes, "Well, that was either the shortest Sunday dinner in history or the cleanest breakup I've ever seen." My phone was going crazy with texts from Fiona, but I kept it in my pocket. No point reading any of that right now. 12-minute drive home. I started making lists in my head. Locks, banks, HR paperwork, wedding vendors, what I can cancel, what I can't, what's gonna cost me, the practical stuff. I figured I'd deal with the emotional part later. Spoiler, I never really did. I just kept moving forward. I think some of that was the boxing training, honestly. Coach always says feel it, let it pass, get back to work. But the thing that really burned me, she put together that whole ambush while owing me money. She was using our joint account to help pay for her thing with Kevin, and then sat there and called me cheap, in front of people I'd been treating like family for 3 years. The audacity was almost impressive. Almost. Edit. This blew up while I was sleeping. Lot of y'all saying I should have gone off on her at that table. Nah, that's exactly what she wanted. The silence hit harder than anything I could have said. I could see it on her face right before I walked out. She was expecting a fight, and she got nothing. Trust me, that's worse. Edit 2. Yeah, implemented was a code word. Ray and I set it up after his divorce went bad. If the dinner went south, I'd text it, and he'd come get me. No questions. People keep calling it a military extraction. It wasn't that serious, LOL. It was just two dudes with a plan. Well, OP, you handled that with way more class than I would have. Thanks for dinner, Mr. Parker. Might be the coldest exit line I've ever heard on this channel. The community went nuts over this one. Everybody wanted to know what happened next. And 12 days later, OP delivered. Let's keep going. Update 1, posted 12 days later. A lot of you wanted an update, so here we go. I've spent the last 12 days being way too organized about ripping apart 3 years of shared life. Fiona's probably not going to love this post. Oh well. For the new people, fiance cheated, blew me up at a family dinner, told me she'd forget me in a week, threw the ring at me, I took it and left. Now here's everything that happened after. Monday, 6 a.m., new locks. Not just new codes, I ripped the whole deadbolt off the door and put in a Schley grade 1 that Ray recommended from his security work. 45 minutes, $68 at Home Depot. Old hardware went in the toolbox just in case. Done. Fiona texted me 18 times Sunday night, called 11 times before 7 Monday morning. I read every single one, screenshotted them all, then blocked her. They started with the sorry not sorry stuff. I didn't mean it like that, and climbed up to full psycho. You can't just ignore me, with some threats about coming to get her stuff mixed in. Wild how fast I'll forget you in a week becomes 18 texts in one night. Work was whatever. Rebuilt the injector pump on a Cat 329, used my lunch break to hit up HR. Took Fiona off emergency contacts, insurance, retirement account. Put Ray as primary and my brother as secondary. The HR lady didn't even blink. She's probably done this 100 times. I ate my turkey sandwich while filling out forms, and one of the guys on the crew asked me if I was getting married or divorced. I said kinda both at the same time. He laughed and went back to his coffee. Monday night, I went through everything. Joint checking, $3,847.32. Savings, $12,203.18. All the shared subscriptions, Netflix and Spotify and the gym membership. I downloaded 12 months of bank statements and screenshotted it all, then sorted what I could change by myself versus what needed both our names. Wedding vendors were the messy part. I pulled every contract out and put them in manila folders. Payment dates, cancellation rules, refund percentages. And here's the thing. Most of them had pretty reasonable cancellation windows if you actually read the contracts, which I did twice, because that's apparently what I do now instead of having a social life.
Caterer was a 2-week window, 60% refund. Venue needed 30 days notice but would give deposits back minus a $350 processing fee. DJ was full refund if you canceled more than 2 weeks out. I qualified for all of it. Then I pulled up that February text thread. Makes sense, we're both adults with jobs. There it was, screenshotted with the timestamp right there in the corner, clear as day. That one sentence was about to become real important. Started an incident log and a spiral notebook. Nothing fancy, just date, time, what happened, keep it dry. Ray called that notebook my insurance policy later on. Dude was right. Tuesday, 6:30 a.m. before work. Called the venue first. Gave them the section and clause number from the contract, my booking reference, asked for confirmation in writing. Hold music for 3 minutes. Came back with a cancellation number and told me the refund minus fees would take 7 to 10 business days. Next, I called the caterer. Same deal. 60% of $2,200, so $1,320 coming back. Then the DJ. Full refund. Took like 4 minutes. Every call got written down. Who I talked to, what they said, confirmation numbers. By the time I left for work, I'd canceled 6 vendors with 2 more on the lunch break list. And all the refunds were going to my account. Because, surprise, surprise, I was the one who'd been paying for everything the whole time.
By the end of that week, I had it handled. Refunds coming in, court stuff filed, and Fiona's belongings boxed up. All 2 boxes of it. 3 years together, and her whole footprint in my house fit in 2 medium-sized bins. I don't know what that says exactly, but it says something. Texted her sister Janet. Fiona's things are ready. What day works? No feelings, no commentary. She said Tuesday. Fine. Closed the binder, went back to the garage. Brakes don't rebuild themselves. Edit. Yeah, I kept the ring money. She threw it at me and called it cheap. That's giving it up as far as I'm concerned. Jeweler didn't ask questions and neither did I. Edit 2. For the car people, 340 small block, numbers matching, frame off. She's coming along great, unlike my love life. Working on both though. I love that he sold the ring and put the money straight into Challenger parts. The car literally ate the wedding. And Ray showing up with a label printer for breakup paperwork is the kind of friendship everybody deserves. Now, the community was fully locked in at this point, but the story was far from over. 5 weeks in, OP dropped the Kevin update, and it's even worse than you think. Update 2, posted 5 weeks after original. I'm back. Lot went down since last time, and some of you in the comments straight up predicted it, which is either impressive or depressing. Probably just means you've all dated the same person wearing different outfits. Quick version for the newcomers, fiance cheated, wrecked me at a family dinner, told me she'd forget me in a week, chucked the ring at my chest, I bounced, sold the ring, canceled the wedding, took her to small claims, done deal. Except Fiona apparently didn't get the memo, started 2 days after she picked up her boxes. Random numbers blowing up my phone. Pittsburgh area codes, Philly area codes, a couple from Ohio for some reason. Same stuff every time, just from different numbers. I'd screenshot and block, screenshot and block. Some of the highlights. Everyone thinks you're being petty about this. My family thinks you're pathetic. Then a different number. Kevin treats me like a queen. You never knew what you had. And my personal favorite, you can ignore me all you want, but you'll never find someone better than me. Saved all of it, timestamps and everything. Then the rumor stuff started. According to people we both knew, Fiona was going around telling everyone I abandoned her at a family dinner, stole the ring, and was refusing to pay my share of wedding stuff. She just completely flipped the whole story. No mention of Kevin, no mention of the public roast she gave me, no mention of the money she never paid. Just, poor Fiona, look what Luke did to her. Pretty creative rewrite of history, I'll give her that. Following Wednesday. Wait, no. It might have been Thursday, actually. One of those days, doesn't really matter. I was leaving the yard around 5:45 and the security guard came up to me at the gate. Fiona had parked in visitor spots and tried to walk onto the property when she spotted my truck. She told the guard she was my fiance, there was a family emergency, and I was refusing to give back her stuff. None of that was true. She had everything already, both boxes, logged it. Called the non-emergency line that evening and explained what was happening. The officer didn't make me feel weird about it, which I appreciated. Just said keep writing everything down, no matter how small, and reference the case number every single time so it all links together. Okay, Kevin. Because this is where it gets real good. Mutual friend hit me with the full story about 2 weeks later, and man, it was worse than I thought, or better, depending on how you look at it. Kevin wasn't some random new guy who appeared out of nowhere and swept Fiona off her feet. They'd been together for at least 8 months, since before we signed the final venue contract, the same contract I was paying cancellation fees on. Just let that one sit for a second. She'd been posting pictures with him on some private Instagram while acting like everything was normal on her main account. But Kevin had a wife, and his wife found messages going back to March, like explicit stuff. Plus, Fiona complaining about how she had to pretend to be happy with someone so boring while planning a wedding she didn't even want anymore. There were screenshots of Fiona asking Kevin to help her figure out how to get out of this without looking like the bad guy. So it wasn't even some heat of the moment thing, it was planned. She mapped out the exit and just needed somebody to hand her the excuse.
And the credit card thing. Kevin's wife found vacation pics from a weekend Fiona told me she was visiting her sick grandma in Cleveland, except she wasn't in Cleveland. She was at a hotel with Kevin. And she charged the room to our joint credit card. When I'd asked her about the charge, she made something up, and I believed her. Why wouldn't I? She was my fiance. Side note, Grandma was never sick, not even a little bit. Fiona made the whole thing up. Just wanted that on the record. And the best part, after Kevin's wife confronted him, he moved out temporarily and then told Fiona their whole thing wasn't serious enough to break up his marriage over. Gone, just like that. So she lost her fiance and her side piece in the same week, which explained why the texts from random numbers were getting crazier by the day. Her king turned out to be a dude who runs when things get uncomfortable. Shocking stuff. Meanwhile, I just kept doing my thing. Boxing twice a week, coach still getting on me about dropping my guard between combos. You keep hands up between punches, yes? Not after you get hit. Yeah, coach, I get it. Challenger kept moving forward. Got the brake lines routed right and started on the wiring harness. Every circuit labeled, proper gauge wire the whole way through. Ray installed a motion-activated floodlight on my driveway. Goes off anytime anything moves out there, which turned out to be real helpful because Fiona started doing drive-bys. Same silver Honda, slow roll past the house, 4 times that month. I logged every one. Eventually got the full plate number. Cops said keep documenting, consider a protection order if things get worse. I wasn't at that point yet, but the notebook was filling up. Anyway, I also started saying yes to stuff I normally wouldn't. Like when Laura from the parts yard asked if I could help her move a transmission for her Camaro project that weekend. Laura. Yeah, she's gonna come up again. Edit. Okay, my inbox is destroyed. Top questions. Kevin's wife found out on her own. I didn't tell her. Not pressing charges on the credit card thing yet, building the file first. And Laura is just another car person at this point. Relax. Edit 2. Somebody in the comments said the Challenger is the real love story here. Honestly, can't argue with that. So Kevin turned out to be a complete coward, told Fiona their thing wasn't worth his marriage, and just disappeared. She lost both guys the same week, which explains why she was spiraling. Now, I'm sure you guys are just as curious as I am about the court date and what Fiona does next. OP came back 3 months after the original with the final update, and it is absolutely worth it. Let's finish this. Final update, posted 3 months after original final update. She said she'd forget me in a week. 3 months later, she got arrested in my garage while I was test driving my rebuilt Challenger with someone better. Last one, Reddit. I know a lot of y'all been waiting on this, so I'm just going to get into it. Go read the other posts if you haven't, but the quick version, fiance cheated, destroyed me at a dinner, said she'd forget me in a week, 3 months of me being very boring and very organized about the cleanup. Here's the ending. Laura. Gotta back up a bit first. Saturday morning at the salvage yard off Route 19. Place opens at 7, and Laura was already there talking to the owner about rear-end gear ratios for a 69 Camaro Z/28. Had her specs written out in this little notebook. Knew exactly which transmission combos would match. We were picking up a T56. Thing weighed maybe 150 pounds with the bell housing. Got it loaded up proper. Moving blankets, straps, didn't rush it. On the drive back, she told me she'd been on the Camaro build for about 14 months. Engine was done by a shop, suspension was sorted, but the auto trans was worn out and she wanted manual. I asked if she wanted to come check out the Challenger. She followed me home and the first thing she did was get down and look at the brake line routing I'd been doing. Smart routing.
You plan for suspension travel on the front? Yeah, 2 inches each direction at full lock plus clearance for the bump stops. We just stood there talking shop for like 15 minutes. Two people who get that you don't cut corners and then wonder why stuff breaks later. She knew her tools. She wasn't looking at me to fix her problems. That was, I don't know, refreshing, I guess. For all the people in the last comment section who were shipping us, okay, fine. You weren't totally off base, but we were taking it slow.
Ray found a racing cart place in Mount Oliver, not the kiddie birthday party tracks, actual racing carts. Rotax engines, real safety barriers, the whole setup. We signed waivers, got fitted for helmets. Laura picked up the racing line quick. Ray spent the entire time giving color commentary about other drivers on the track like he was calling a race on TV. We were about 15 minutes into the session when I heard yelling from the pit area. Fiona. Her voice cutting through engine noise. She'd followed us. I pulled in and killed the cart. Ray and Laura came in behind me. Fiona was at the entrance going back and forth with the track staff, pointing at our group, trying to push her way into the pits. She got past one of the employees and came straight at me, going off about how we need to handle this and how I was embarrassing her by showing up places with other people. I didn't say anything. Walked toward the exit. She grabbed at the helmet I was carrying by the chin strap. I pulled back. She lunged again, caught the face shield with her nails, and it twisted out of my hand and hit the concrete, cracked the outer shell. Supervisor was right there, looked at the damage. Ask Fiona for ID. She refused but gave a phone number. He wrote up an incident form, told her she was getting billed for the helmet, and she needed to leave right now. Ray was leaning against the cart return with his arms crossed. Congratulations, you just earned yourself a lifetime ban from go-kart racing. Waited a second. That's got to be a first even for you. Security gave her a trespass notice. I got a copy of the report, and they confirmed the cameras caught everything. 20 minutes later, we were back out there racing. Laura won the last one. I filed the report when I got home. Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. Got there early with the full packet. Fiona showed up at 9:25 with no lawyer, holding a folder that I'm guessing she put together around midnight. Magistrate called us at 9:35. Asked me to go first.
Rebuilt 340 went in the week before court. First startup was a Saturday morning in December. I don't really know how to describe the sound of a Mopar small block coming to life after a full restoration if you've never heard one. It's just, yeah, it's good. It felt like something finally going right. The grand finale, 3 weeks after the hearing. 9 p.m., I'm in the garage messing with the Challenger's interior. Laura's there helping with the seat covers. Motion light trips, car door slams in the driveway. Fiona came around the corner into the light, and she was messed up, like badly. Pajama pants, hoodie, hair all over the place like she'd been sleeping in her car. You could smell it before she even got close. There you are, slurring, pointing at me, living your sad little life in this pathetic garage. Laura glanced over at me, eyebrows up. Oh, please, is this? Yep. Fiona saw Laura and her face just twisted. What the heck is this? Already moved on to some random witch? Laura laughed, out loud. Didn't even stop working on the seat. Lady, I've rebuilt more engines than you've had hot dinners. But sure, I'm the problem here. Fiona went off about my stupid court games and my pathetic car. I just pulled my phone out and called 911. Gave the address, said I had an impaired trespasser who'd been harassing me for months, read off my case number. She heard case number and absolutely lost her mind. Case number? You have a case number on me? What kind of psycho keeps a case number? Laura, not looking up from the bolt she was tightening, the kind who documents stuff properly. You should try it sometime. Nobody asked you. Laura set the wrench down, stood up slow. I'm sorry, what'd you just say? Something about the way she said it made Fiona step back, which was kind of funny because Laura's like 5 feet 4 inches, and Fiona's got 3 inches on her easy. But there's a difference between being tall and being someone people don't want to mess with.
No, go ahead, finish the thought. I want to hear what somebody who cheats on their fiancé and then stalks him thinks about my character. Cop car came up the driveway right then. Lights on, no siren. I gave the officers my notebook and walked them through the timeline. One of them flipped through a couple pages and just nodded, then looked at Fiona. Ma'am, have you been drinking tonight? She tried to hide a can behind her back. I just came here to get closure. Other officer looked around the garage. By showing up uninvited at 9 p.m. with a drink in your hand and yelling at people? He ruined my life. Everything is messed up because of him. Laura could not keep quiet. Your life's messed up because you cheated on somebody who was paying for your wedding. That's not his fault. That's just what happens. They gave Fiona a field sobriety test. She couldn't walk the line, couldn't touch her nose, couldn't get past M in the alphabet. M. The breathalyzer confirmed what was already pretty obvious. You're under arrest for trespassing and public intoxication. She started crying while they cuffed her, screaming on the way to the cruiser. This is all his fault. He abandoned me. He never cared. The officer looked at me while his partner loaded her in. Domestic stuff's never fun, but your notes made this real straightforward. After they drove off, me and Laura just stood in the garage, engine idling. She grabbed her wrench and went back to the seat like nothing happened. Well, she didn't look up. That was something. Yeah. She tightened the last bolt and slapped the seat cushion. Done. Want to take her out? We drove around the neighborhood for like 20 minutes. Windows down, 340 doing its thing through the exhaust. Car ran perfect.
Fiona said she'd forget me in a week. 3 months later, she's the one who can't let go.
Lost her fiance, lost Kevin, got arrested in my garage, has a record now, and I got the money back, finished restoring a 73 Challenger, and met someone who thinks suspension travel clearance is a legit conversation topic. Ray keeps saying I should frame the court judgment and hang it in the garage. Nah, the Challenger running is the only trophy I need. Best revenge isn't loud. It's just handling your business and letting consequences show up on their own schedule. Thanks for riding along, Reddit. Oh wait, one thing I never figured out. What was Kevin's actual job? Fiona kept saying he had a real career, but never once said what it was. I asked around after everything went down, and nobody seems to know. Not even the mutual friends. Kinda bugs me, honestly. Probably always will. Edit. Fine. Yeah. Laura and I are together. No, I'm not rushing anything. She told me the other day my documentation habits are weirdly attractive. I think that's a good sign. Edit 2. Challenger update for the car people. Runs great. Went with the Tremec 5-speed after all. Purists can fight me. I don't care.
And that is where this story ends, folks. She couldn't get past M in the alphabet, M, while standing impaired in the garage of a man she said she'd forget in a week. I gotta say, that might be the most satisfying ending we've ever had on this channel. I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch. It really does mean a lot that you guys enjoy this content. So thank you once again, and having said all that, I will see you guys in the next video.